Welcome to our short tutorial on setting up the ControlCam 2 app and your GBF IP doorbell. We'll start off by going to the Play Store, searching for ControlCam 2. You can see I've already done this before. And we will select ControlCam 2 and install it. Now, while this is installing, actually first you accept all of the device permissions it requires, and she starts downloading and installing. Just to let you know, you also need to make sure that you perform a factory reset on your IP doorbell. This will put the IP doorbell into the access point mode and enables the IP doorbell SSID to broadcast. This is important because that's actually required for configuration if you're going to be configuring it via Wi-Fi. To perform an actual factory default or factory reset, remove the power to your IP doorbell and then restore it. Within 3 seconds, you have to press and hold the bell button. You will need to hold the bell button for over a minute. Nearing the end of the required time, the LED lights to the side of the camera lens will flash, and shortly thereafter, the speaker will emit a buzzer sound. After the buzzer sound finishes, you can release the bell button. The IP doorbell after this will perform a short reset on its own, and will be ready for configuration in about just over a minute. So anyway, I see our ControlCam 2 app has downloaded and installed, and so now I'll just open it, and you'll see the first screen we come to. It does come up with a banner that says for some phone models you may have to change the permission status in order for notifications to be seen on a lock screen. As you know, in the Android world, there's a plethora of different manufacturers and phone manufacturers and the way they handle notifications. So in some cases, not many, but some cases you may have to go into the settings of your phone to be able to properly receive the notifications from this particular app. For most of the phones out there, it's not an issue though. Okay. So what you'll do is, since you're going to be a first-time user here, is you'll sign up for an account. Just a note here that every user that uses the ControlCam 2, every phone, every device basically needs its own account set up on ControlCam 2. You cannot share an account between two phones, like your personal phone and your personal iPad. The reason for this is it actually kind of messes up the ring and notification consistency. So you want to have every device have its own account. Now, the nice thing about when we're talking about accounts here is that we're not doing any data mining here, so you don't need to enter any email addresses or anything like that. Just come up with a unique username of 3 to 20 characters in length and whatever password you want. Now, the security question, you can come up with a custom security question of your liking, and whatever answer you like to that custom question. And those would only be for resetting your password should you forget what password you had entered into your account. Now, I'm not going to actually sign up because I already do have a valid account. So what I'm going to do is log into my existing account. I'll just enter the credentials in here and my simple password, and we'll log into my account. All right, and so now once you log into your account, your newly formed account, you'll see that you won't have any devices, and this is the screen you come to, and it does say you may add a device by clicking on this area. So I will click on this area. Now you're faced with two choices, Doorbell 1 and Doorbell 2. Doorbell 1 is all of our legacy doorbells that are out there, and any of the new doorbells that do not say V.2. We do have a new line of IP doorbells that actually look identical. They are identical in physical appearance, but they actually contain different firmware, and they are identified on the website, on the Amazon listing, and on the packaging as version V.2. So in my case here, in many of your cases, if you're upgrading, to the ControlCam 2 app from the original ControlCam app, most of you will be using doorbell number 1. In my case, the unit that I have here to configure is actually a V.2 version of our IP doorbell, and so I will be using doorbell 2. Now, to configure it, you typically will be using the hotspot connection device, and that's for a brand new device that hasn't been already configured and is not married or joined onto a Wi-Fi network yet. Now, one way you can confirm that your Wi-Fi connection is that the AP mode of your actual IP doorbell is working correctly is to go up into your list of available Wi-Fi, and I'll just bring down and take a look at what we have here. And as you see, we have this LIDAW, and then whatever numbers follow is the actual SSID of the IP doorbell. Every IP doorbell will have a different set of numbers afterwards here, but this actually is a good way to determine if your antenna is working correctly, or if you're in range, or the antenna is oriented correctly. Because if you are, with your phone fairly close to your router and your IP doorbell is located out at the gate or on the outside of the house, and you still see a decent amount of signal strength here, then it's connected correctly. If you don't actually see the SSID of the IP doorbell when you're nearby your router, but you do see it when you're nearby the actual doorbell, that means that there's some kind of antenna or range issue that needs to be remedied. Okay, so now we do see that we have the access point or the AP mode of the IP doorbell working properly. We will go back to the ControlCam app and tell it that we want to do a hotspot connection. Hotspot configuration. So this is our Wi-Fi configuration page. Okay, so as it says, before you click the next button, make sure that your phone or tablet Wi-Fi is connected to your preferred Wi-Fi, and that the device is actually reset to its factory default AP mode. Well, we actually confirmed the default AP mode by the fact we saw the SSID, and of course my Wi-Fi, my device is connected to the preferred Wi-Fi. Regarding the Wi-Fi, make sure that you are trying to connect to a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. This unit will not work with 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Okay, so 2.4 gigahertz only. All right, so I press next. It's going to search for that SSID, and it has found the SSID of the actual doorbell. It doesn't show that here, but what it did confirm is that it can communicate with the IP doorbell via its access point. And so now I'm putting in the credentials of my Wi-Fi. All right, so I can choose from which Wi-Fi I want here. I will pick, of course, our GBF Wi-Fi, and I will put in the password for my GBF Wi-Fi, and I will hit the next button. So at this point, it says the command was sent successfully and the device is configured. The one thing that this is actually the point where we probably find the most configuration issues. It seems strange, but most of the time people are not entering the correct password for their Wi-Fi. So this notification here does not really tell you that it's an incorrect password, because of course it doesn't know. All this notification is telling you is that whatever information you have entered into the previous screen, correct or not, has successfully been sent to the IP doorbell. So after you press OK, it brings you to the Add a Device screen. The first line is our GID, device GID. You will actually have seen these same letters and numbers combination in the SSID that was previously broadcast. This is very important, not to change, not to not to delete or change in any way. This is a unique number that's unique just to your IP doorbell. Username is always going to be admin. And right now, because it's a defaulted, in a factory state, the password is 1234. So I'll just enter in 1234, and then in device name, I can put in any customized name I'd like to have here. So I'm just gonna, for fun, put in front gate. Okay, and then I make sure that I've got everything what, and then it suggests or tells me to press the save button, so I'll press the save button and wait. So that brings me to our IP doorbell selection screen. As you see, beside front gate, beside our customized front name, we've got a green dot there. Now, if you are very fast at doing your initial configuration, when you come to the screen, that dot may not be green, and not to panic, but that may not be green because it may, well, basically after you configure the IP doorbell, it goes through a reset state, and it's about a minute and 15 seconds to a minute and a half before it actually joins up with your Wi-Fi and goes online. All right, so basically what green means is that it has connection to our servers and it's ready to go. So what I'll do is I'll just press on this area here, and it connects to my IP doorbell, and as you see there, it's connected. Just for a brief description of the icons here. The speaker icon, when the speaker icon is green, it means that I can hear any activity out at the door station, out at the IP doorbell. With the microphone, when I press or click on the microphone icon and it turns green, I now have a larger microphone icon, which, as it says below, you have to press to talk. So basically what that means is that for your visitor to hear you talk, you have to press and hold this particular button while it's green. While you're pressing and holding, your listener or your visitor is able to hear you. And once you release it, you'll be able to listen to your visitor. The reason we use a press to talk system is that because of, echo cancellation is required if you use a straight two-way speakerphone kind of operation. And the problem is if you have, for instance, if the outdoor station is in a high ambient noise or high background noise situation, this echo cancellation will draw the gain, drop back the gain so far that your volume will actually be pretty poor out at the door station. So when you actually have a separate push-to-talk type system where audio is allowed in one direction only at a time, it is duplex audio, but it's one way at a time. You are able to maintain those higher volumes, which most people on busy streets will be very appreciative of. Okay, the other icon up here, back into the upper area there, it is the camera icon, and that's basically for snapshots. If I press it briefly, you hear a little kind of a camera noise, and it takes a snapshot of whatever visitor or whatever activity you see at the door. If there's something more or longer that you want to take a picture of, you see the movie recorder button here. If you press that, you can see that it's actually recording. Up in the upper left, you'll see a little recording letters there. Not a lot of activity or movement in this picture, obviously, but we can tell by the looking at the clock counting up that we'll be able to see that it's a live video when we play it back, just gauging with that. So I'll just turn that off again, toggle it back off. And so now we can leave this monitoring screen, and I can go into more settings on our IP doorbell. From the settings screen here, you can see that the front gate is our custom name that we've given our IP doorbell. The admin is the username, and that cannot be changed. That has to stay as admin. And the actual password is only 4 characters long. This screen is for the device login credentials. So you actually have to enter the credentials that are stored in the device. And currently, our password of 1234 is what's stored in the device. We can change that. I'll show you that in just 1 minute on what we can do with that. But on this screen, you have to make sure that the password you enter in here is the password stored in the IP doorbell. Okay, so unlock time. This is basically the duration of time that the unlock or the lock relay is tripped for. If you're using a gate controller, typically 1 second is just fine because it just wants a very temporary unlock engagement. However, if you have a door strike and you want to make sure that somebody's able to get to the door and open the door before it times out, you can put any amount of time in here from 1 to 99 seconds. So I'll just click on it. And I'll put in 7 seconds as an example, hit OK, and she's ready to go with that. One key unlock, when you actually trip that outdoor lock, you have two ways of doing it. So if you do it from the main screen that we were on previously, you hit the lock icon. It will ask for your password or for the unlock password for you to enter in. And after you enter that in, it will unlock the door. However, with a one key unlock, you can actually store the unlock password in the app itself. So if we engage the unlock, one key unlock, in Control App 2 on the version 2 units, the unlock password actually is 1111. So I will just enter in 1111, which is the correct password for this this unit right now. And now that I've changed these parameters, I can hit save. And now when we take a look on into our IP doorbell, sign back into it, when I hit the unlock button, unlocks the seat. It actually does the unlock right at that point, and it holds it open for 7 seconds. All right, so now let's go back further into our advanced settings. In the advanced settings, your modified device password is the only setting available on the legacy and early versions of the IP doorbell. These last 4, the modify unlock password, motion detection, set time, and reboot restore, are only available on v.2 versions of our IP doorbell. So self-explanatory, modify the device password. You put in the current password. In this case, I just want to demonstrate to you that the passwords actually can be anywhere from 1 to 15 characters long, and they can have they can be made up of letters and numbers and some special characters. So I'm just going to put in a longer than average 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 password, just to demonstrate to you that it doesn't need to be only 4 digits long. And when I'm finished with that, I go up to the upper right and press save. So remember, anytime you're modifying any of these parameters, make sure you press save in the upper right. So now when we go back to the main screen, you'll see that my device password is now long, but it's the longer password that I entered with a mixture of both letters and numbers. But you'll also see that the unlock passcode is still the same. All right, so that is one thing with the version 2 units, is that they can actually have a different unlock code from the actual device credentials. On the version 1, or if you're using when you enter a doorbell 1 unit, those ones require just the actual device password will be the same as the unlock password. So now we go back and do advanced settings again and take a look at some of the extra features that are available on the v.2 versions of the doorbell. Modify unlock password. Again, this is self-explanatory. You can have a unlock key. Again, varying in length. It does not need to be just 4 digits long, and can contain different characters as well. Motion detection. Here, through the app, the motion detection selection is only turning it on or turning it off. Okay, so our IP doorbells all are very capable, or have very capable motion detection settings in them. However, to get to those settings, you do need to access it through our web browser interface using Internet Explorer and ActiveX controls. That is the only way that you can access the motion detection settings. So after when you do get into the web browser interface, and you can select up to 4 different regions of interest. You can change the sensitivity of the motion detection, and you can tell it what to do when it does detect motion too, such as sending email or recording video to an FTP server or anything like that. But from the app, you'd only be able to turn it on or off. However, when you do turn it on, if you have customized the regions of interest and all of that, that will still be in effect. Okay, so motion detection in a quick summary. Set the time. So if we use that, it's self-explanatory. It will sync the camera time with your mobile device. So whatever time we're showing up in the corner on our mobile device, when I press OK, boom, we've got the correct time. So if we go back and take a look at our picture now, our time matches the time of our device, as well, of course, the date. And the final advanced setting on here is reboot restore. These are fairly self-explanatory too. Sometimes you might need to reboot the system, and you might be able to successfully do it from the app. It depends on what might be wrong. And of course, restore. Restore you want to use very carefully, because of course if you hit restore and do say OK to restoring to factory settings, you will actually return all the configuration settings to factory, and you'll have to configure your IP doorbell from scratch again. All right, so that explains the advanced settings. So now from the IP doorbell selection screen, you will see that we have two tabs. We have doorbell, and if you add additional doorbells, you would have additional, they'd all be listed on this list as well, that you would be able to scroll through if you've got more than two. Many users will have more than a single doorbell. They might have one at front gate, one back at the shop, one back at the holiday house, or something like that. But so we have set up our IP doorbell. We have got video going. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure that we receive the ring-in notifications. So what we need to do is press this global ring-in. Press this global ring-in tab. As you see, we have three selections here. Silent. If I press silent and say OK, change to the silent mode, this will silence all incoming ring-in notifications from the IP doorbells, from all IP doorbells that are connected to this app. This would be if you're in a meeting or just don't want to be disturbed. Global ring-in basically will enable all of the IP doorbells on this app, or at least programmed to this app, to be able to ring into this mobile device. But we also have the ability to have selective ring-in. Selective ring-in, once engaged, we can go to our list and select or deselect from the list of IP doorbells. Of course, we only have one in this app, but if you had additional apps, like you've got your, or not, additional IP doorbells, like you have your front gate, you have got your shop, and you've got your holiday house, you can select or deselect either one of those. And once you select it, be sure to hit this little save icon up in the upper right. Again, when exiting any of the pages, make sure you save your selection. Okay, so now that we've got the ring-in ready to go and the unit configured, we will actually just exit out of the app, and we'll actually try a ring-in. So just go into the IP doorbell. As you tell, we hear the ring-in notification, and it's as simple as when that pops up on your screen, you just press the green button to answer. As you see, when you answer, the speaker and microphone icons are lit up, so that you can immediately, if you see the guest or delivery person or whatever there, you can just immediately press to talk to them, release, carry your conversation, and if desired, press the unlock button to open the door, open the garage door, open the gate, whatever you have it wired to. So now we'll just put our phone asleep, and we will, again, as you see from the sleep screen, it does wake up our phone, and again, we can go straight to the app and communicate with our guest. As you see from this in the upper right here, it has a bell icon with number 2 beside it that basically is telling us that we have 2 notifications in our log. So when you press on that, it will show us which IP doorbell and the timestamp associated with it that came in. And of course, if you want to clear it, you can just press the clear button. It will then confirm to delete all of the alarm notifications. Then if we back out of this and go to the main, whoops, I actually didn't want to quite back out of that. I'll go back into ControlCam 2. We go to the settings, and from settings, we can take a look at the media. The media is basically that snapshot and the video that we took previously. So if I want to just identify only the videos that we took, well, we only took one video, and I can tap on it. As you see by the time proceeding up there, this is a live action video. Okay, not a lot of action, but we can see the time progressing. And if we long press on it, we can delete a particular file. If I go over into the photo section, here's that snapshot that we took. In this phone, we'll just open it with the gallery. There you go. There's our snapshot. Now, again, same thing, long press, and you can delete by press confirm, or as well, if you hit edit, you can do a batch delete. No, maybe not. So anyway, delete the file and confirm. All right, and then as well, from this main settings screen, you can also press this person icon up here, and here you'd be able to change your password. And this is the password to get into the app itself. It has nothing to do with the IP doorbell, only with the app. And you can also log out of here. If you did, for instance, want to use the same account but on multiple devices, then you'd have to log out of all devices and just sign into one device at a time. In the settings area here, we have the ability to change the notifications from our motion detection, for example. So you can when the doorbell rings, if you engage this vibration mode, you will not actually hear the incoming ring-in notifications. You will actually just get a vibration from the phone. And the same goes for motion detection. If it's grayed out, if it's turned off, then what you do get is the actual audible notification for motion detection, or you can engage just the vibration mode, which will silence the actual audible notification. Actually, I shouldn't leave the doorbell on. Okay, and about we'll just give you your latest version of ControlCam 2, which is our 2.3.3 currently. All right, now you can exit the program any way you like. It is not like previous where, well, for example, if we go into and sign on to the video live, I can just go straight to pressing the home screen, the home button to get out of the app, and that's it. So hopefully you have found some helpful points and hints in this video, and thank you for looking at GBF products.